Let's get into some things of the things, child. We got some stuff to talk about today, honey. We got some stuff to talk about. Hit that like button if you are new here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. You meant what you said when you said it. Really be expected, because I don't be understanding y'all sometimes. And when y'all know when I say y'all, you know I ain't talking about y'all. You know I'm talking about y'all. Makes me that all these people that got something to say have been actively involved in the political process in their world. I don't believe it. You ain't gonna convince me. I know y'all love me. What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Happy Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras. Fat Tuesday. All of the things. I saw my girl, Lovely Nola, and of course, I immediately thought of Mardi Gras. Tomorrow is the beginning of Lent season, Ash Wednesday. So whatever it is that you do, however you observe Lent, I know for some of you, some of you decide to not do social media. So if that means that I'm not going to see you for the next 40 days, I wish you well. And I will see you after Lent is over. I know a lot of people do disconnect from social media, and so I definitely respect that. Tomorrow is Montrez's birthday. Y'all wish Montrez a happy birthday, boo. Yes. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. So you getting on the highway? Okay, be safe, Chuck. You be safe over there, boo. Giving up mainstream media for Lent and probably forever. Listen, I'm not mad about it. I told you guys that I'm trying. Okay, so I'm giving up soda. I've been trying to stop drinking soda for a while now, and I'm giving up soda, and I'm gonna try to get on. I'm gonna say try and sweets. And when I say sweets, I mean all sugar. I mean like cakes and cupcakes and that kind of stuff. Okay. Anyway, let's get into it. We are here to go through this lawsuit. We found out yesterday while I was live that Jay-Z has filed a lawsuit against Tony Busby and Jane Doe. Now, for those of you who haven't been following or you're not quite sure what we're talking about, Jay-Z was sued a few weeks ago. Maybe about a month or so ago now, maybe about 2 months, maybe right before the holiday. I'm not sure. And he has, listen, let me tell you something. Jay-Z has been fighting these lawsuits like the way you're supposed to fight a lawsuit when you got some money. Whether people, well, I ain't gonna say what I believe, but whether people believe that he is, guilty or innocent, baby, the way Jay-Z been fighting is the way if you a billionaire and you have the coin, you supposed to be fighting. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. With that being said, we know that the lawsuit was dropped with prejudice, without prejudice. I always say that wrong. I don't know why I can't remember the right way to say it. But it was dropped and she can't file it again. I think that's without prejudice. You giving up 6. Miss Pretty Amazing. I don't even know what you're trying to say. Are you saying sex? S-E-X? Are you asking me am I giving up sex? Or are you asking me about eggs? I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, Miss Pretty Amazing. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're asking me, boo. Because I didn't say nothing about either one. I said soda and sweets. I didn't say nothing about either one. I don't even know where that came from. Okay. So we're going to read through the lawsuit. So the case was dropped. And now Jay-Z has filed a lawsuit against Tony Busby and so without prejudice. Thank you. I don't know why I can't remember that. I would have failed that on the listen. I told y'all what I'm giving up for Lent. Don't ask me extra. 2 things. I told y'all I'm giving up for Lent. I didn't say about nothing else. Soda, sweets. Okay, moving on. So let's read through this lawsuit. Nigga Cruiser. Y'all, my friend Cruiser say she love the way I read these lawsuits. I don't know what it is that I'm doing that tickles her, but baby, she gets tickled. So I had to let her know I was going to read through this lawsuit. I don't know why y'all keep asking me about other things. I'm giving up 2 things for Lent. Soda, sweets. I don't know why y'all keep asking me about other stuff. Why do y'all keep asking me about other stuff? Moving right along. Let's go through it. As always, this is coming courtesy of Tracy. And if y'all want to tip Tracy, y'all can go ahead and cash at me. I'll make sure she get the tips because Tracy is never going to drop her cash app in the chat. Even though I be telling her to drop her cash app, I will make sure that she gets whatever tips that y'all forward to me. And I'm not going to drop her cash app in the chat because I'm going to respect the fact that she doesn't want to. But I will send her any tips. But this came courtesy of Tracy. So let's look at it. Let me make this a little bit bigger, honey. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Oh, not that big. That's too big. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay. All right. Let me put it up on the screen. I see y'all trolling me today. I see y'all. Gonna keep asking me other stuff. I told y'all what I'm giving up. Ask me about nothing else. All right, let's get into it, you guys. So, okay. Let's read through it, you guys. We're going to scroll through that. Okay, hold on. What's it say right here? Introduction, child. Okay, all right. Okay, it looked like this introduction is dramaful, so let's read through it. A, false. B, malicious. C, strategically and tactically calculated and timed to inflict maximum pain and suffering on Mr. Carter. And D, in conspiracy with multiple attorneys, including defendants Anthony Busby and Damon Fortney, who, like her, were soullessly motivated by greed. In abject disregard of the truth and most fundamental precepts of human decency. Now, I need y'all to know before we go any further, baby, these are... $2,000 an hour attorneys. I mean, really, their associates really actually wrote this, but that's not the point. These are attorneys that billionaires pay for. So it's going to have a lot of big words, a lot of SAT words in it, a lot of drama, okay? Because that's what people are paying for when they paying $2,000 an hour for these attorneys, okay? These are the only truthful and fair description of Jane Doe's and her lawyers' malevolent efforts to assassinate the impeccable and lifetime earned character of Sean Corey Carter, who is professionally known as Jay-Z, but more importantly, is known as Dad. You know what? They ain't put the dad in there, did they? And husband and son and a human being who did nothing to deserve or elicit this wanton, depraved attack that Jane Doe, in conspiracy with her lawyers, launched to extort Mr. Carter beginning on November the 5th through a menacing private demand letter. Notice they put private in quotation marks because to this day, baby, we ain't never seen this letter. This extortion letter we have never seen. So I don't even child. We have never seen this alleged extortion letter. But okay, notice they said it's private. Hey, El Teddy, I saw Cajun say, hey, El Theodore, so El Teddy must be in here. Hey, boo. Okay. Doe and her lawyers, Anthony Busby, David Fortney, and Anthony G. Busby, the Busby law firm collectively then brought before the world an in-court complaint, the impossibility and indeed absurdity of which was surpassed only by its vile malevolence in a desperate attempt to leverage Mr. Carter into an exorbitant payoff, with these malicious actors presented as the only path for Mr. Carter to prevent the public prosecution of lawsuit by Doe. When their initial exorbitant demand letter failed to yield the financial windfall they sought, and after Doe and Busby, with whom she had never spoken before the demand letter was drafted and sent, that Carter did not sexually assault her, Busby pushed her towards going forward with the false story against Mr. Carter to make the case better and get them more money, Specifically, Busby brought Jay-Z into it. Because remember, that lawsuit originally was against Diddy, and then they added Jay-Z later. Okay. Busby then went forward naming Mr. Carter with full knowledge by him, as imparted to him by Doe, that Mr. Carter had never assaulted Doe, and Doe's entire story as it related to Mr. Carter was completely fabricated. Doe has now voluntarily admitted directly to representatives of Mr. Carter that the story brought before the world in court, excuse me, and on global television was just that, a false, malicious story. She has admitted that Mr. Carter did not assault her, and that indeed it was Busby himself, whom she met for the first time at a coffee shop in Houston on the day of her maliciously false NBC News interview, who pushed her to go forward with a false narrative of the assault by Mr. Carter in order to leverage a maximum payday. To compound this erroneous harm, just last Friday, Busby and Fortney's co-counsel, a prominent New York attorney in the now dismissed false action against Mr. Carter, threatened Mr. Carter's counsel to double down with yet another false public statement by Doe if Mr. Carter publicly revealed her admissions and Busby and Fortney's misdeeds in Mr. Carter's pleading California lawsuit against Busby. Fortunately and clearly unexpectedly from the perspective of Doe, Busby and Fortney were met with nothing but righteous resolve at every turn by Mr. Carter. He stood steadfast, publicly described the lies being put forth against him, and beat the civil conspiracy among malicious Doe and her malevolent, soulless lawyers, driving them back into the shadows from which they came, resulting in the voluntary dismissal with prejudice without settlement of their false and malicious complaint on February the 14th of 2015. Y'all, there's a whole lot of big words for them to just be like, that lady lied on me. Mr. Carter does not commence this action lightly. Following Jane Doe's admission that she fabricated her claims against Mr. Carter, her lawyers have continued to seek to hide this reality, including through further exorbitant threats and demands by Busby, Fortney, and their New York co-counsel. Even after all of this, Mr. Carter does not expose his malicious and wrongful accuser's identity in this complaint, seeking to maintain her anonymity as Doe. But the extortion and abuse of Mr. Carter by Doe and her lawyers must stop. Therefore, Mr. Carter brings this lawsuit to hold Doe accountable for her willful defamation per se and her malicious prosecution of knowingly false allegations against Mr. Carter, and Doe and her co-conspirator attorneys have falsely and maliciously peddled. Really be maybe I'm too old. When I interned at Brooklyn Days in a rat-infested 100-year-old building, court documents were dour and dull enough that you would wish for blindness type of child. Court documents now don't cite any case law or listing tort law numbers. It sounds like dribble from novels you throw in a trash. No, I've read quite a few lawsuits that have court cases. Sabria, I just usually skip over all of that. They usually have court cases. That TD Jakes lawsuit that I read y'all last week, it have probably had about 10 pages of court cases that is cited and explain how the court case was connected. I just didn't read all of that because y'all don't care. Y'all don't want to hear all of that. Y'all want to get to the nitty gritty. So I give y'all the nitty gritties. But no, a lot of these lawsuits do have case law. I just usually skip it when I read through it. All right. This next section are the parties. Again, y'all know who the parties are, child. We know who it is. Jurisdiction and venue. Y'all know, okay, the jurisdiction and venue. Okay. Here are the allegations and the command for relief. Okay. Y'all ready? Here we go. Child, shut up, Cajun. Anyway. Now I want the meat and really be reactions. All right, let's go. We're getting into now. Here we go. We're getting into the meat. Oh Lord, child. I just got finished eating dinner. Lord, I done got food all over my shirt. Sorry about that, y'all. Oh, y'all can't see it. Lord, I'm 20. Okay. Doe appears to be suffering from personal and financial hardship. She lost custody of her children, and her parents, who on information and belief support Doe, recently filed for bankruptcy protection. Desperate to obtain a payday, Doe hired the Busby law firm, which has a long history of whipping up a media frenzy with vague and sensational claims against public figures to extort payments from Mr. Carter under the threat of devastating harm to his reputation. First of all, we know that Pam taught us that whenever they say upon information and belief, that means they really don't know. That means they really don't know. So first of all, you don't know that that lady family is supporting her. Now, it does say she lost custody of her children. I'm sure they know that. Because remember, she's a Jane Doe to us, but they know her real name. They know who she is. We don't know who the public doesn't know who she is. So they done went all through that lady history. Her parents done filed bankruptcy. She done lost custody of her kids. I mean, maybe she... We're going to keep reading. As discussed below, Doe's first attempt to extort Mr. Carter through an exorbitant demand letter and an anonymous lawsuit, both from Busby. When Mr. Carter refused to capitulate to Doe's baseless demands, Doe doubled down by using the justice system to attempt to ruin Mr. Carter by formally naming Carter in a complaint, making horrific false allegations. And when that also failed, Doe resorted to defaming Mr. Carter on global television. So first of all, we still have not seen this extortion letter. I really would like to see the letter because we know that Pam and other attorneys have told us that in a civil case, you generally do send an intent to sue letter. And in the intent to sue letter, you say, this is how much it will take for us to not file this lawsuit. Listen, I bet you everything I own right now that Diddy wish he had paid whatever Cassie ass was asking for. Whatever Cassie ass was asking for in her intent to sue letter, I bet you Diddy wish he had paid that plus some. Because but for the fact that he ignored Cassie's intent to sue letter, Diddy would be sitting on a yacht right now, probably somewhere down in St. Bart's. I'm just saying. I bet he wish he had listened. Not DV said I was at work and got 3 demand letters a day. I don't know what you got going on that you got 3 demand letters in one day. But I'm going to stay away from you, girl. Okay. A simple Google or other public record search of Doe by Busby and Fortney would have cast doubt on her credibility by revealing that, among other things, less than 90 days before sending a demand letter, she had been in court on mental health-related issues in connection with her second-degree assault charge and had her bail revoked for failing a drug test. Damn. They done went all through this lady life. They said she was in court 3 months before the demand letter for mental health-related issues in connection with a second-degree assault charge and had her bail revoked for failing a drug test. My God. Jane Doe got a lot going on. But some might say, and I'm not saying it because Jay-Z don't come for me because, baby, I don't have nothing for you. I promise you I ain't got nothing for you. I'm not saying Jay-Z did or didn't do nothing. But what I am going to say is some might say, is it the chicken or the egg? What came first? Does she have all of these issues because of her experience at a young, tender age? Or is she just a desperate gold digger? I mean, some could argue both sides of that coin. I'm not arguing shit because Jay-Z, I don't have nothing. I know the other day I went off on somebody and I was talking my shit, but I don't have nothing, Jay-Z. Okay? See how that worked? I don't have nothing for you, sir. I'm just simply making an observation. Let's keep reading. She has had several mental health disorders and takes multiple medications, according to testimony from her psychiatrist laid bare in public court records. She made 3 other sexual assault allegations, which were either dropped or dismissed by the courts. That's not looking good. Yeah, don't come for me. Don't come for me because I ain't got it. Did he? Okay, okay. On October 20th of 2024, Doe sued, Sean Diddy Combs and his business entities as well. Although Doe's lawsuit also implicates unnamed Celebrity A and Celebrity B, Doe did not formally name them as parties. Instead, Doe only sued Doe's 1 through 10 as defendants. In her original complaint, Doe alleges that when she was 13 years old, a friend dropped her off at Radio City Music Hall in New York so she could try and attend the Video Music Awards on September the 7th, 2000. Although she was unable to talk her way into the VMAs, a limousine driver purporting to work for Combs invited her to an after party. Later that evening, the limousine driver took her to a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway about 20 minutes away. After accepting a drink, Doe claimed she felt woozy and lightheaded and found that she believed to be an empty room. Doe alleges that Combs and Celebrity A assaulted her while Celebrity B watched. It has become evident that Doe did not initiate this legal action with a legitimate purpose. Instead, the lawsuit was filed with the intent to extort Mr. Carter. A few weeks after filing her complaint, Doe, through Busby, sent Mr. Carter, and here we go with this damn extortion letter, dated November the 5th, containing false allegations of vile conduct by Mr. Carter. Some of the allegations in Doe's letter were from public complaints Doe filed against Combs, with the obvious implication being that she would amend her complaint to add Mr. Carter if he refused to pay. Doe threatened to take a different course if Mr. Carter did not commit to a confidential mediation to resolve this delicate and important matter. Then it doesn't sound like she asked for money. She asked for mediation. Now, I'm sure during the mediation, she was going to ask for some money. But that's not what that says. By the deadline on November the 19th of 2024, giving Mr. Carter only a 2-week window before she would go public with her false allegations. To avoid both public and criminal exposure, Busby stated that his client wants something of substance by way of a settlement. So, how many weeks was she supposed to give him? Let's just assume for a minute that her story is legit. How long? He said they only gave him 2 weeks. How many weeks was she supposed to give him to think about it? I mean, I don't know whether her story is legit or not. Child, wasn't there. That was in 2000. In 2000, I was doing some other things with my life. I wasn't there. But he's not in violation of HIPAA, Sabrea. HIPAA does not extend to private citizens. HIPAA is for healthcare workers. First of all, they said it was a public record. So there's no HIPAA violation if this was said in open court and the record is openly available. There's no HIPAA violation. Second of all, there's no HIPAA violation if this is an attorney just repeating information that he was able to obtain. The violation would be if this information was only available to her medical people and they said it, which violated HIPAA. But it sounds like this was said in open court and there was no violation to HIPAA. So no, there's no violation to HIPAA, y'all. Y'all love to throw HIPAA around. HIPAA is for healthcare workers. It's not for private citizens. If somebody tells me that they have cancer and I repeat it, I'm not violating their HIPAA. If you go to the doctor and they find out you have and if you're diagnosed with cancer and one of the nurses calls the National Enquirer and tells everybody you have cancer, that is violating HIPAA. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. However, Doe had already sued Mr. Carter, albeit as one of the Does 1 through 10. Doe's plan was thus clear. She was demanding that Mr. Carter either A, pay something of substance to stop her from making public the wildly false allegations of sexual assault that would subject Mr. Carter to opium and irreparably harm up to his reputation, family, career, and livelihood, or endure the financial and personal ruin. Doe's statements and correspondence made clear the immediate and extensive threat of exposure if Mr. Carter failed to pay. Unwilling to capitulate to Doe and Busby's extortion on November the 18th of 2024, Mr. Carter filed a lawsuit against Busby for extortion and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Mr. Carter explained that Busby was shamelessly attempting to extort exorbitant sums from him or else publicly file wildly horrific allegations against him. On December the 8th of 2024, humiliated by Mr. Carter's lawsuit, Busby encouraged Doe to file, and Busby and Fortney filed a First Amendment complaint revealing what Mr. Carter knew all along, that one of the Does was a placeholder for Mr. Carter if he did not pay her ransom. Child, that was ransom. Okay. In Doe's First amended complaint, Doe makes wild, horrific, but utterly false allegations against Mr. Carter, substituting him for celebrity A. On December the 13th of 2024, now this is with Jane Doe. Jane Doe, this where you really messed up. When you decided to do an interview on NBC News, this is where you really messed up, because you said a lot of stuff that people were able to prove wasn't true. So let's read through this. NBC News broadcasted portions of an exclusive interview of Doe, which was conducted with Fortney by her side. NBC News honored Doe's request to mask her identity. They published a story excerpting interviews it held with Doe. During the interview, which was set up by Busby, was given on a voluntary basis and on the presence of Fortney, Doe lied about Mr. Carter and to global television audiences. In addition to attempting to explain the impossible, how she, as a 13-year-old from upstate New York, wound up in Manhattan at a private VMA after party with countless celebrities, Doe told NBC News how she spoke with musicians Benji Madden and his brother at the after party. She recalled talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo, The Last Supper, because she had a religious background, so it was something to talk about. Doe repeated her claims that while at the after party she had a drink that made her feel woozy, after which Combs and Carter took turns assaulting her while an unidentified female celebrity watched. Now, remember, we talked about all of that, y'all. First of all, it couldn't have been Beyonce, because that was before Beyonce and Jay-Z was dating. So we know it wasn't Beyonce that she was talking about. Well, assuming it was a true story. They talked to Benji Madden. For those who do not know who Benji Madden is, Benji Madden and his brother are part of the band. What's the name of their band? One of them white bands, child. Benji Madden is actually married to Carmen Diaz right now. And I believe his brother is... And his brother's married to somebody. Anyway, but come to find out, child, they wasn't even at that VMAs. They were on tour when this party allegedly happened, which means that she could never have had that conversation with Benji Madden because he wasn't there. He was literally on tour. Literally on tour. Okay. Good Charlotte, thank you. Because they're from my area. Good Charlotte is from, they're from my area. What part of Maryland they from? They're not too far from me. Anyway. Because I remember when Benji bought Carmen Diaz home and they made a big deal about it on the news, child. Carmen Diaz. And I was like, girl, nobody care about no Carmen Diaz, child. Anyway. Doe repeated her claims that while at the after party, she had a drink. I just read that part. Okay. Doe told NBC News that following the assault, she found her way to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home. She states that her father did not ask her what happened, what she did, or where she was. Instead, they rode home in silence for 5 hours and 47 minutes. Let me explain something to y'all. I ain't nobody's mama. But I promise y'all, that's what I say. How you gonna spell it the exact same way and then say I'm saying it wrong? Cameron Diaz, not Carmen Diaz. You, Chuck, not today. You know who the hell I'm talking about. Right. The brother is married to Nicole Richie. I knew the brother was married to somebody else famous. Not today, Chuck. You know who the hell I'm talking about. Carmen Diaz. Let me explain something to y'all. I wish, like hell, that my 13-year-old child would call me to pick them up 6 hours away from our home and we're not having a conversation. I know we all remember our favorite Cosby Show episode where Vanessa went to Baltimore to have big fun. Baby, that would have been me. Ain't no way in hell. And then the daddy said, that ain't never happened. The daddy said, I ain't never drive 6 hours to pick my daughter up from no gas station in Manhattan and turn around and drive another 6 hours home. That never happened. And I do believe daddy would, unless you're going to tell us that daddy was a crackhead and he got a bad memory, I believe daddy would remember a 10-hour drive. Baby, I feel like if I had did that to my parents, that randomly, my mama would just one day, like randomly, my mama would just call me and cuss me out because she thought about it. She just remembered. Right. Big fun with the wretched down in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? I wish the heck. So anyway, that was another story that was easily debunked. Okay. So you doing this interview was not the best idea for you, ma'am, Miss Jane Doe. I think I'd probably still be grounded too. Those allegations about Carter were false and defamatory, and her mendacity is clear, including to the reporters at NBC News. First, okay, First, although Doe stated the assault occurred at a residence, Mr. Carter was at no such residence. Indeed, NBC located photos of Mr. Carter from that evening showing him at a party at a commercial location, a now closed Lotus nightclub in New York City. Of course, a private nightclub cannot be mistaken for a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. That included a living room or a foyer, a hallway containing several rooms, a bedroom. Even Busby admitted to NBC that Doe does not claim the assault occurred at Lotus nightclub. Second, Doe told NBC she spent 20 minutes in the limo before arriving at the residence. However, when pressed about the details in a follow-up interview, Doe admitted she did not know where she was going or even how long the drive took. Worse, she conceded to NBC that she guessed about the length of time the trip had taken in the lawsuit. Third, as to her description of a supposed conversation with Benji Madden during the interview, NBC News, a representative for Madden confirmed to NBC that neither he nor his brother Joel attended the 2000 VMAs and that them and their band Good Charlotte, I should have kept reading, were on tour in the Midwest at the time. When confronted with this evidence, she conceded she made a mistake in identifying them and that not all of the faces at the after party were clear. Fourth, regarding her pre-dawn drive home with her father, Doe's father told NBC News that he does not recall picking Doe up, which would have been something that would definitely stick in my mind, he said. And he learned of the alleged assault when Doe was interviewed by NBC News in December, and that he remembers once picking Doe up in the middle of the night, but it was a local drive, and based on their address in Rochester, Doe's father would have had to have driven at least 5 hours and 47 minutes to pick her up. There are countless other falsehoods in Doe's allegations. For instance, despite alleging that it took 20 minutes to get from Radio City Music Hall to the after party, there are no houses matching Doe's description within a 20-minute drive of Radio City Music Hall. And although she implies that Combs hosted an after party, none of Combs' properties match Doe's description of the location of the after party. Moreover, Doe alleges that after the VMAs began, much of the crowd moved inside. But Doe, without a ticket, remained outside while outside with others and watched the VMAs on a jumbotron. But the broadcast of the VMAs conclusively shows that there was no jumbotron. Indeed, the producer of the 2000 VMAs and the New York Police Department confirmed There was no jumbotron since the permit application was denied. I want, nope. I ain't gonna say that. Even if Doe was outside the VMAs, as she claims, she could not have approached celebrity limousines because they were only outside a radio music hall briefly for celebrity pickup and drop off. In any event, the celebrity limousines were separated from fans by police barricades, as publicly available video of that event clearly shows. Girl. Thank you for the super chat. Hold on, let me read it. Oh, thank you, cuz. Thank you. Thank you, DeMarcus, for the super sticker. Thank you, my love. Child. Let me just be honest. As somebody that deals with children who tell stories all the time, baby, you was telling stories that could easily be debunked. Like, you was giving way too many details that could easily be debunked. But what I wonder, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying she's telling the truth, y'all. But what I wonder is if she went to a VMAs when she was older and she's going by maybe an experience she had, like maybe there was a jumbotron. Like, was there never a jumbotron at any of the VMAs? Maybe she did see Joel and Benji Madden in the audience at one of the VMAs. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying she's telling the truth. Let's be clear. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm wondering if she's conflating stuff to try to create this story. You see, do y'all see what I'm saying? Okay. All right, let me keep reading, child. Let me keep reading. It was all a lie. That's why I need to get that gift. I really need to get that gift so I can use it, child, because sometimes. All right. Mr. Carter made several court filings repeatedly detailing the falsity of those claims, as revealed by her story's inconsistencies and the baselessness of various allegations. At each of these junctures, Doe was confronted with the false nature of her claim as well as the harm it was causing Mr. Carter. At any of these points, Doe could have withdrawn her lawsuit. Nevertheless, Doe continued to pursue her claim without regard to the harm it would cause or could cause Mr. Carter. She has now admitted that Mr. Carter did not assault her. Indeed, Busby, aware that Mr. Carter did not assault her, pushed her to make the false claim for money. They keep saying that. I need to know where she said that man didn't assault her. That's what I need to know. Having already sent the false and defamatory demand letter, having filed the false and defamatory complaint, and having already set Doe up to give the false and defamatory interview on NBC News, Busby, Fortney, and the Busby law firm were happy to perpetuate the lies and hold out hope for unwarranted payment for them and Doe. Indeed, Busby went as far as to tell TMZ on December 10th, 2024, already full aware of the falsity of the allegations, having met with Doe in Houston, and Doe was not ruling out filing RAPE charges against Mr. Carter, and that what happened next is up to my client. It's her case, and what she decides to do, you will find out in due course. However, the legal process got in the way of their scheme. Busby had signed the complaints in the action against Mr. Carter without being admitted to the bar of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, as required. When the judge presiding over the case was advised of this fact, she issued an order dated January the 28th, requiring Busby to file proof of admission on the docket by February the 14th. And of course, we know on February the 14th, they dropped the case. Faced with the inability to comply with the judge's order in the case against Mr. Carter and facing the threat of punishment by the court, Busby dispatched Fortney to Alabama to meet with Doe the same day, namely February the 13th. During that meeting, Fortney falsely, maliciously, and manipulatively told Doe that the case against Mr. Carter needed to be dismissed, as Mr. Carter had made threats against Doe's life, and it was too dangerous to continue with the case. Of course, no such threats had ever been made. So they saying that they told Jane Doe that Jay-Z threatened to unalive her if she didn't drop the lawsuit. That's what they saying. Oh my. Rather, Busby and Fortney were desperate to withdraw the false case or face punishment in court for their actions in filing a false pleading without Busby even being admitted to the Southern District of New York, jeopardizing their ability to continue with their more than 20 other cases they have pending. Thus, on the evening of Friday, February the 14th, Doe quietly filed her involuntary dismissal with prejudice. It wasn't quiet, baby. We all was talking about it. All of us talked about it. It wasn't quiet. Wasn't quiet. But the threats and extortion did not end with the dismissal. Rather, on Friday, February the 28th, after Doe admitted all the foregoing, and after Busby became aware of those admissions, a prominent New York attorney serving as Busby and Fortney's co-counsel called an attorney for Mr. Carter. During that call, Busby and Fortney's New York co-counsel called pending extortion and defamation case, in California against Busby, related to the statements made by Doe, fully exculpating Mr. Carter and inculpating her, Lord, these big words, and Busby for extortion and conspiracy. That Busby would issue a public statement by Doe that she was being harassed by Mr. Carter's people since she dropped the lawsuit, and two, dropped the lawsuit only because she was afraid for her life, and that the allegations against Mr. Carter in the dropped lawsuit were all true. Of course, Doe's allegations about being harassed by Mr. Carter's people since she dropped the lawsuit and about her reasons for dropping the lawsuit are and were always false. When Doe, Busby, and Fortney and their New York co-counsel said they knew or could readily have discovered through any reasonable inquiry that these statements were false. Thus, the threats of extortion and further defamation continue to this day, necessitating that Mr. Carter take action to prevent unscrupulous actors from further preying on him. So I'm just going to read the causes of actions. I'm not going to go through all the details because a lot of it is just going to it's going to repeat. So the first cause of action is malicious prosecution against all defendants. The second cause of action is abuse of process against all defendants. Third cause of action, civil conspiracy against all defendants. Fourth cause of action, defamation against Jane Doe. And then, of course, it's prayers for relief and a demand for a jury trial. So that is the case that was filed on yesterday. However, Jane Doe has filed an affidavit stating that she never took back what she said. Jane Doe said in an affidavit that was filed with the court that she never recanted her story. She alleges that she withdrew the case because of harassment. Now that's what she said. She said, I never did that. Now that she said that in the affidavit that was filed with the court. Now I don't have the affidavit in front of me, but it was filed with the court. Hold on, let me give y'all. Hold on. Do I need throat spray? No, I don't need throat spray. Okay. So let me read y'all this. Okay, this is coming from Deadline. Reeks of desperation. Jay-Z's accuser did not admit story was false, and she won't. Jane Doe's lawyer says after rapper files lawsuit. So there was an affidavit filed with the court that said and that alleges that didn't happen. Okay, did not happen. And Busby, Tony Busby says the following. Hold on. Is this new? Hold on, y'all. Child, this goes through the whole thing. Hold on. I do have what Busby said, though. Busby said the following. This new case alleges the same claims the other one, they placed together and filed in Los Angeles. Like the one in LA, this new case in Alabama also has no legal merit. Sean Carter's investigators have repeatedly harassed, threatened, and harangued this poor woman for weeks, trying to intimidate her and make her recant her story. She hasn't and won't. Instead, she has stated repeatedly that she stands by her claims. These same group of investigators have been caught on tape offering to pay people to sue me and my firm. After people speak with Jane Doe today, it's clear to me that the quotes attributed to her in the lawsuit are completely made up, or they misspoke to someone who isn't Jane Doe, or they spoke to someone who isn't Jane Doe. This is just another attempt to intimidate and bully this poor woman that we will deal with in due course. We won't be bullied or intimidated by frivolous cases. And that was coming from Tony Busby. Now, I don't know what you can do because you can't refile this lawsuit in the same court. It was dismissed without prejudice. However, it will be interesting, I guess, to see where it goes from here. One thing for sure and two things for certain. Child, this thing has gotten really, really nasty and really, really ugly. And, you know, again, whether you believe Jay-Z or you don't believe Jay-Z, if I were Jay-Z and I had the means and the money, I would fight it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has the money, he has the resources, he has the means to do it. You know, I would fight it too. La Night, I'm trying to get back to it right now. I do not have the bandwidth. I do have a bunch of books that I've been reading that I do want to sort of talk about, but honestly, I just don't have the bandwidth right now. I'm really trying to, between work and all of these things. So I might get back to it this summer when I have a little more free time. But right now, I just haven't. But I'll tell y'all what I've been reading. We done with this, child. So if y'all, we done. I'll say this and then we're going to get off of here. I'll tell you what I've read, though, that I will probably talk about. I have read, I read the sequel to The Supremes at All You Can Eat, at Earl's All You Can Eat. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it at first, but I did like it. Summer at the Bluffs. Was it Summer at the Bluffs by Sunny Hostin? I want to read those sequels, but I read that one. I'm getting ready to read the sequel to The Black Hamptons, by Carl Weber. I've read David Baldacci's new book. I read John Grisham's new book. Trying to think of some of the, I read Patricia Cornwell's new book. I like the Kay Scarpetta series. So yeah, I'll probably get back to books this summer. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, I'm waiting for you to read that Cash App lawsuit. Child. You know what, Sharice? I started reading it. I need somebody to help me with it because it gets into a lot of the money stuff. And child, my brain shuts down. When you start talking about, my brain shuts down. History I can read all day, but for some reason, I have been reading it though, Sharice. I have been reading it. You know what? This was today. Maybe we'll get into that this week. But anyway, y'all, that is the Jay-Z. That is the latest lawsuit as it relates to Jay-Z. We're gonna probably do the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills tonight. So we'll meet me over at the review channel at about 9:15-ish, and we'll talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But that is your update for today, child. That is your update for today. With that being said, I'm about to get out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button on your way out the door. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, DeMarcus, for the super chats. I appreciate the support and the love. Thank you so much. Mwah. Peace.